Hello students, welcome to one more problem of System Verilog interview series. So let's go and try to understand this problem. So here in this problem, we are supposed to find first and second largest element of an array. So if the problem statement says that implement a System Verilog function that takes an integer and determines the first and largest element in an array. And here there are some predefined rules given. And the rule says that you're not supposed to use any built-in function. If only one element is there in the array, then first and second largest would be the same. And let's say they had also given some example, like let's say if this is the input array, then the largest element is definitely 15. So the first largest should print 15, the second should be 11. And let's say if you only have one element, then the first and the second would be same in that case. So let's try to code this problem. And here we are already given with some predefined code test cases. We are just supposed to write the piece of logic that would help to achieve the first and the second largest element. So here, as we can see here, we are already given a predefined function with three arguments, that is an input array. The second and third argument, that is the first largest and second largest, are the output, which would be eventually uh, updated from this function depending upon the logic that we would be writing. So let's say if let's assume if this is the your array, right? So here we are just in order to find out which is the largest element. First thing is we need to iterate through all the elements of an array and just make sure that and just compare it with the different elements. So let's say what here you can do is we'll just iterate through all the elements of an array. And then what you can do is you just need to make sure that basically you need to compare each element with the another element. So let's say the first largest, let's say this first largest element is zero. So in this case, let's let for if the array of I, if let's say is greater than the first element, is if let's say it's greater than the first element, then in that case, you are just supposed to update the value of first largest element of an array, right? So, so how it will work is, let's say initially the value of first largest would be zero. So it will go to the first element, it will compare one with zero, and definitely one would be greater. So it will update the value of first largest element. Let's say the first largest would be here one, and it on the successive iterations, let's say in the second loop, it will go to second and it will update the value of 2 to the first largest. Similarly, it will go to go for 3 and 15. For 15, it will store 15 as the first largest. Now after 15, let's say it will go to new element like for each of array of fifth element, that is 10. Then it will compare basically this 10 with 15, which is the previously stored first largest element, and this condition won't be satisfied. And in that case, you can directly the first largest won't be updated. So this would be the logic that you can use to determine the first largest element of an array. So, and this would anyway be directly would be updated in one of the output ports. And now in order to determine the second largest element of an array, so generally the second largest element, you can say that it would be the previous of the first largest uh, element. What does that mean is, let's say if you are let's say in this case, let's say if you are on 15, on for each 15, then the for each 15 will be stored as the first largest, and whatever would be the previous value that would eventually be stored in the second largest. So in this case, let's say the second largest, let's assume to would be 3, right? So the second largest would be 3, and the first largest is 15. Now, after 15, let's say when it goes to for each loop, then it won't go inside this for each loop after finding the first largest element. So the issue with this line number 9 is it won't be detected if, let's say, if you have the second largest element after the first largest element. So whether in order to determine that condition, let's say if your second largest is situated somewhere after your first largest, you need to write some logic like second largest. If let's say if your array of I, let's say it is greater than your second largest element, then what you need to do here is you just need to update the second largest element with array of I. See, the way it will work is, let's say after 15, you got the array of the value would be 10. So it will compare this 10 with 15. So which would won't be satisfied, then it will compare this 10 with 3. This value is 3. So this would be satisfied. And your value, second largest value would be here 10. And so again, it will again go to for each loop. It will then check for 11. The again this if won't be satisfied, then it will go here. Like it will check whether the first element, let's say this would be 11. So 11 would be greater than 10. So it will this value would be updated to 11. And in the last case, 7. So in the seventh case, both conditions would be false. So it won't be updated. So this is pretty much the logic for the first and the second largest element. And we're also given one more condition. Let's say if there is a single boundary case, let's say if there is a single element, then the first and the second largest should be same. So in that case, you just need to make sure that if array of size is equals to 1, right, then your first largest, you can just say that your second largest is equals to your first largest. So let's try to now simulate the code that we have just written. All right, it seems that our test case is passed. If you see the input array here, in the first case is like 1, 2, 3, F, A, B, C. So the largest is F and the second largest is B. The second case, we only have one element 3. So the first and the second largest is 3. So it seems our piece of logic is correct and all the test cases passed as well. All right, so that was for this video.